Apologies on being a little late with this. I intended to do it earlier, but things came up, and now I'm going to have to do several in one. Kind of like the last video I did, which was fully animated, and I was just fooling around with that to talk about the Super Bowl trailers and all that sort of thing. But now I'm going to talk about The Flash, Project Blue Book, and some news concerning World War Z and Superman. So, the first one I saw was the Project Blue Book episode. And it's just flat out X-Files. There's no point in seeing it as anything other than its own thing, because it's not. It's just X-Files in the past. So J. Allen Hynek is just there as almost like a brand name. And so, yeah, it's developing its own thing. There's things like the Prestige, where Tesla shows up in it briefly as an actual, wizard, if you will. But no, I don't think Tesla ever actually invented clone machines like that. But so here you have Hynek, but he's more involved. He's the starring character of the series. So you're getting to the point of being disrespectful to actual people. And I suppose they felt they really couldn't make an entertaining series out of the actual stories that he investigated. You would have thought they could pull something like that off, but I guess they just wanted this action-adventure show. And to make it proper for a history channel, they would add in little notes and footnotes at the end of the episode that tells you about whatever. And the first two actually dealt with some incidents, but now we're into things that really weren't, I don't think, fell under the purview of Project Blue Book, or it was previously named Grudge, and then Sign and all that. And then Blue Book was the longest title it had until they closed up shop in 69, I believe. So more eeriness, of course, and atmospherics, and the sinister goings on of their overseers. And then it picks up where his wife was attacked by this mysterious man who's trying to find Hynek. And then lo and behold, we find that several pilots for World War II have come in contact with aliens, and this addressed the legend of the Foo Fighters, is what UFOs were originally called. During World War II, they would see these glowing lights and whatnot, and they thought at first they might be German weapons, and then they later discovered that no, the German pilots were seeing them too and didn't know what they were. And so now, apparently, these pilots are being manipulated as antennas, human antennas, to make contact with these aliens for whatever reason, to lure them in or to get their technology. I don't know, whatever the plot is. I guess that'll unfold. But this is very similar to things like X-Files, where the government's either in cahoots with the aliens, or they're chasing the aliens, or they're trying to do this or that, and they're abusing people along the way, believing it's for the greater good and all that sort of thing. Meanwhile, there was this pattern that Hynek had come across, and so he shows an image of it to this man that had attacked his wife, and he encounters him. And inadvertently, this signals the man to self-destruct, which he does. He sets himself on fire. And again, people being burned and whatnot, quite a similar thing, reminiscent of X-Files. So they're really not even trying to be their own thing. It's just, well, we're in the past. It's in the 50s and 60s, so that's enough. I mean, it's too bad, because the show looks really good. The actors are good. The performances are fine. There's just really nothing here. So that's too bad for Foo Fighters. They didn't really delve much into that. Oh, and the lesbian romance, well, it took a pause because the agent's in trouble. Her handler got mad, and because she had to explain herself since she rescued Hynek's wife from the antenna man. And so Quinn goes to question this woman at her home, and that's right at the headquarters for the spy nest there. So he slaps her around, and then she says, well, I'll fix this. And so she's putting the moves on Quinn, and she uses her bruised face to gain his sympathies that he needs to save this damsel in distress. So Quinn's gonna probably fall in love with the mysterious blonde spy lady, only to find out she's a lesbian. Well, yeah, that happens, and what are you gonna do? So they got that little soap opera going on, but that's about it. And it's a lot of icing and no cake for Project Blue Book. And so that's about it. And I don't think I'll be awarding any stars for that one. Then The Flash comes along, and this one was called Goldface, where Ralph and Barry had to go undercover to infiltrate Goldface's gang on a heist and whatever. This was a kind of a weak one, but it's carried through on the performances for the characters, and it carries it a little further. And then Iris has a confrontation with Cicada and that sort of thing. And then you get a little more details about Sherlock. And so it brings a lot of the series together, so it's not entirely a filler episode. The overall plots of the show are moving forward, but should have stepped it up a bit. Now, there was some interesting back and forth between Barry and Ralph, and that works out. And boy, the Goldface, he gets it really bad in the end. I didn't really see it. It's kind of horrific because he's literally covered in gold under his skin. And well, what happens when gold gets really hot? Yes. so that was something for that, I guess. But I don't know. I think this was like a 2.5 or 3-star episode, thereabouts. But I still say The Flash is the best of the CW shows because the others have gotten so bad. There's just no point mentioning them anymore. So there you go. The other news that was really pretty bad, because I thought this was all fixed and was on its way to finally happening, which was World War Z 2. Well, no, it's not. In fact, it's dead. Paramount just pulled the plug on it, and Paramount's been in trouble quite some time. None of their franchises have worked except Mission Impossible, and apparently they're putting all their eggs in that basket because maybe they just have to, and they didn't want to take a shot on a sequel to a movie. It's, what is that, 5 years ago now, I guess? I don't know. But World War Z was quite a surprise that it did so well. At the time, it had so much trouble, they had to reshoot pretty much half of the movie. But it worked out. Now, I enjoyed the movie, even though there's a lot of plot holes here. It's really kind of silly. At first, it seemed kind of neat, that, the zombies don't want sick people. They want healthy people. Well, I think they would have gone for the sick people anyway. It just wouldn't have done much for them. But I don't think it would have worked out that way. But for the most part, I enjoyed the film, and I understand people who read the book that this doesn't quite represent the story, and it doesn't. I mean, it's a very linear, more or less first-person story, whereas the book is a collection of stories, and it's set in after the aftermath of the war. Everybody's recounting the zombie war and how it happened and everything, and it's based on how people logged stories about World War II and that sort of thing, and that's where the writer got the idea. And I suppose a better way would have been to do this sort of mock documentary style of the story. And maybe at some point, the franchise can be rebooted and they'll take that approach rather than your movie star doing heroic deeds and whatnot. So whatever they were planning, I guess it's scrapped. It was a lot of work to get it done. And Brad Pitt wanted David Fincher for the job and all this stuff. And finally he came on board and ready to go. And then Paramount said, no, I can't do it. Because it was just about this summer, I think they were going to start shooting it. And, well, there you go. So that's over for World War Z 2. Perhaps there'll be another World War Z later on. Now, a little bit that I touched on in a previous video was this rumor running around about Superman, that one of the stumbling blocks for getting another Superman movie off the ground was Henry Cavill making demands not just on higher pay, but he wanted script approval and director approval. And now his people came out and said that is absolutely not true. That is not the deal. So there's never been any official confirmation that the whole idea of a Henry Cavill Superman movie has been scrapped. People suspected it. We have to assume that, yes, there was some gamesmanship going on here, negotiations. But hopefully that has concluded, perhaps, and they've come to a deal. There's been some little teases, but that's Cavill doing that, where he shows that how he's worked out and he's all jacked and he's standing next to a statue of Superman and all that sort of thing. It's a clue, but he's doing that Witcher TV series for Netflix, and there's serious talk of him returning to Mission Impossible, so I'm not sure what amount of time he has to do a full-blown movie, but it's possible that he could do cameos for the other DC movies. Most certainly Shazam, and I'm really hoping they found time to tape something. I would like it to be rather significant, but enough to just say, yeah, he's still there. And as moving forward, especially after the performance of Aquaman, they're probably thinking of giving the go-ahead for continuing with these movies, somewhat connected. Obviously, they're all going to be solo films for now, but they can build on that and see if it does grow into something. And then they can, meet up later. But still, a Superman movie could be kept alive by that. And so you're probably looking at maybe 2023 at the earliest for it, which is really sad, but maybe that could happen. So hopefully it will, because they need to get a good Superman movie, and I think he can do it. I just don't think he got a fair story. There were moments, but that was about it. So there you go. There's my better late than never, Nailsin ratings video for now. I've had some really horrible news, and I'll discuss that on my regular podcast on RadioMisfits.com for this Saturday's episode. So if you're interested in that, I don't think. But follow me there for regular episodes of the Mr. Nailsin Show. Thank you for watching and listening. Check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Bye-bye.